Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Parker Eimerl, and this is the Conversation Station. Just gonna do that for the intro now. Kind of decided that just not to be as confusing. The name is still gonna be confusing, but I want to start off this episode by saying thank you to those of you that have tuned in so far to my 30 and 30 challenge. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I think it's a great experience all around. And I think that these episodes are the best new thing to come from it, because I was already doing interviews, right? And I've changed a couple of things within the interviews, have a couple of questions I'm trying to universally ask across all episodes. But I think the Eimerl experience is the best thing to come from it, for me on a personal level, especially, because now I get to share my thoughts and my ideas with you guys. And I have a couple of notes here, as usual, per usual, a couple of notes I threw together that I want to talk about. And I kind of want to focus on consistency and action, which has kind of been the theme of these 30 days, right? And when I think of consistency and action, I mean, I think of that, but I wanted to touch on a couple of things. The first thing is the most important part of action is that first step. There is such a fundamentally larger gap between 0 and 1% and 1 and 2%. And that's why one of the things emphasized across a lot of things is if you want to go to the gym, drive to the gym even if you don't work out, right? Obviously, you should work out. Obviously, that's the goal. But at least do the first step so that you have something to build on. And I think discipline is also something that falls into this category of like things that are essential to the journey of life, things that you must learn, things that you must do. But I think that there's multiple forms of discipline, right? Discipline is forcing yourself, not necessarily forcing, but just doing the thing. But along with that, you have to understand the difficulties of doing that thing. And so I think along with that comes this idea of ease of action, as I like to call it. So whatever the task is you need to get done, make it as easy to do to the standard it needs to get done. Don't half-ass the job, but do it to the level it needs to get done to, right? Don't make it hard on yourself. But I think along with that, it would be make it easy, eliminate the stress, but don't eliminate the pressure. Put timelines on things. Put commitments out there. But don't let it be stressful. Like I talked about last time, it is a choice whether these things are stressful or not. It is up to you. Your choice, your life. And so as I look at that and double check we are recording, yes, we're recording on the microphone. If you know, you know. Had a little technical difficulties last time. But pressure, as they say, pressure creates diamonds. But I also like to say stress destroys them. In that the pressure, if you have a timeline, then it is good to keep yourself to that timeline, and it gives you reason for discipline. But in that same vein, if you let stress get to you, you're going to be paralyzed by the challenges, paralyzed by your problems, paralyzed by everything. And so I think that what you need to do, and what I would recommend doing, is set a challenge. Say, I'm going to do this. For 30 days, I'm going to do this. For 30 days, I'm going to work out every single day. But along with that, go tell every single one of your friends about this commitment. Tell everyone in your family. Tell social media about your commitment, and then do it. but and and here's what I'll say. It is going to be stressful up until the point you start. It is going to be stressful until day 3. Each day it's going to get less and less stressful because you're proving to yourself that you can do it. I've seen that with this podcast challenge, this 30 and 30 challenge, as I've called it, where that first day was stressful as heck. That first day was that episode with Coach Jay, and that was stressful. But more than that, day 2 was stressful because I was camping. Didn't know what I was going to put out. Had to record the first Eimerl experience. Loved that episode. But it was stressful, right? It was stressful. And then day 3 rolls around. Okay, it wasn't easy because we were on the road and I didn't have great Wi-Fi connection, and I had to do I had to get crafty to make it work, but I made it work, and it wasn't that stressful. Yes, it was frustrating. I was frustrated by the fact that Safeway doesn't have outlets in their stores, but it wasn't stressful. I knew I'd get it out on time. And then what was day 3? Or no, that was day 3. And then day 4, what was that? That was the ADHD episode. And that one wasn't necessarily stressful. I was tired. But I think that episode came out great. But I was exhausted, just got home from the trip I was on. And everyone knows how you are when you get home from a trip. You just want to lay down. But the fact that I had committed to it by talking to mentors about it, by talking to friends about it, by talking to guests about it, it became something where what I would lose by stopping now would never be worth what I'd gain by pushing through. And that is with all of these things, but it becomes more and more relevant, and it becomes less and less of a, oh, what if? It becomes it shifts from the what if to the what's next, right? And I think that's a fundamental element of habit building. Like, set a goal for 30 days. And then and go as hard as possible. Be the most consistent. But then after that, understand that at the end of X challenge, if you're going to work out every single day at X intensity for 30 days, let's say you get there, right? Well, guess what? On day 31, you are just going to want to wake up and go to the gym because it's what you've done for 30 days. And so what I would say is you can always scale it back a little bit, right? I don't know if I'm going to do an episode a day with the podcast after this, but I'm going to do more than one a week, right? But you're going to build a habit that's going to stick with you, hopefully till the end of your life, for the rest of your life, and especially with if you find something that is a positive thing, that is good for you to do, not how much junk food can I eat in 30 days. That's stupid. But I think that you have to leverage pressure into consistency. And that's what I had written down here. Now, I want to transition into a topic that I've talked about on the podcast a couple of times, and I don't know which episode it was in because it was before the whole 30 days challenge. So I don't know, but what I know is what I had said is there is no failure if you get back up, and I think it was the episode with John Richards. Now that I recall, but the fundamental idea is you may fail, right? You may not succeed, right? You might not succeed, but you didn't fail if you get up and try again, right? There is no failure if you get back up. And as I was thinking about it for this episode, it reminded me of a quote that I feel like most of you have heard, or maybe it's just something I've heard. But I feel like a lot of you have heard this quote, and it's, you may have won the battle, but you'll never win the war. And I remember it as like a snarky quote I'd say to like a friend or something if they beat me at like a game of basketball or a round of horse. But I think it's an interesting idea, right? You may have lost the battle, the opposition, the enemy, whatever that may be, may have won, but they only won the battle. The war is life, and winning the war is finding success. But success is not a one-size-fits-all. Success is something that is defined by you for you. There are people who make $10 million and are miserable, and people who make $30,000 and are happy. So you have to define success for yourself. But I think the other way to win life is to continue working. And I think one of the things that I see people getting caught up on is, how do I define success, right? How do I figure out exactly what I want to do, exactly where I want to go? But the best part about success is you don't need to know exactly what you want to do or exactly where you want to go. I like to look at people as opposed to an exact statistic, an exact thing, an exact measure. Because people, the lives they live, tend to be a good representation of who you want to be. Now, I wouldn't go to Instagram for this. That's stupid. I'm saying stupid. It's late at night. But that is a fundamentally bad idea, because Instagram is inherently fake, right? Like, at the end of the day, you probably saw that I posted this episode on Instagram. Follow me on there. But Instagram is inherently fake in many ways. You're never going to get 100% of someone. But if you get to know someone and that person is who you want to be, emulate that, right? But even if you don't have that, I think you've got to take some fundamental lessons of success. And one of those big lessons is it's not about the money, right? It's never about the money. And you just need to start working towards something, or start taking action on something. Taking action on a podcast, right? Taking action in working out every day, and start to build momentum so that when you find that thing, find that place you want to get to, you have so much momentum you can just break down all of the walls that might have prevented you from getting there if you didn't have that momentum. I think it's an interesting thought that the momentum, the doing, the action. Because one of the biggest issues that I see in my quote-unquote peers, people my age, is a lack of action purely due to the fact that they don't believe it's necessary. And what I mean by that is, in the system that we've grown up in, that generations of us have grown up in, we've been taught that we're not adults until after high school, and we don't have to really worry about a job till after college, right? And then we don't have to be in the real world for that time. And so I sit there and I think about why, right? Why wait? Why wait for the time when you're told it's right to act? Why not decide for yourself? Why not take action now? There are going to be factors in your life that make taking action difficult. That is the entire point. Overcome those challenges. Take action. Take more action. Take more action. Do more. Do more. Do more. And as you keep doing this, and don't take action in the things you hate, right? There's going to be parts of everything that you dislike. But don't think of taking action necessarily as getting that English, doing 100 English essays, right? Don't think of it like that. Think of it as something that is going to be a fundamental net positive to your life. So as opposed to something that is niche, do something that will benefit you no matter which way you go. So if we were to take an example of, working out, that's objectively positive, right? Now, you might have to scale that if you have medical issues, but working out is a fundamental positive of life. It is better to exert yourself than to be obese. That's just true. And if you don't think that's true, I don't know what to tell you. But I think it is and even for me, right? I started this podcast almost 2 years ago, right? And I didn't know what it would be. I just knew I wanted to start a podcast, and I wanted to talk to Rodney Farrell, right? And so I did. I started the podcast. Consistent on and off, but more importantly, a podcast, what happens when you're on a podcast? You get comfortable in front of a camera. Drop my phone. You get comfortable talking to important people. You get comfortable, even more comfortable for me because I was already comfortable with public speaking. You gain knowledge from these people. And you gain an insight into the lives of successful people. You gain an insight, you gain a network. And so when I look at those things, let's say I randomly woke up tomorrow and said, you know what, this whole content thing isn't for me. I want to be a doctor or something like that. Or maybe not a doctor. I want to clean cabinets for a living. I want to clean cabinet doors. Well, let's think about it. Every business needs good marketing. Every business needs good marketing in terms of digital and in terms of verbal and in terms of word of mouth. Now, if we take the skills from podcasting of content creation, right, which obviously if I decided I wanted to do cabinet cleaning, then I would hire someone for content eventually. But for a while, it's going to be me. Okay, public speaking, you've got to do some sort of verbal person-to-person talking. Okay. Talking to these successful people, learning the lessons that they know from them. Okay, successful business people learning what their mistakes were. Boom. Okay, now I know things not to do. And if you see my point, right? Where taking action on something not so niche that it's going to not serve you if you change your mind. But taking action on something niche is better than not taking action at all. And I think that's what I want to leave you guys with. And be on the lookout Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Don't know the exact pacing of the episodes, but you guys are going to get some real rad episodes. On Thursday, when you're listening to this, I'm recording with two really awesome people. And I'm excited to share those episodes with you guys. And excited to continue to build on this. So please be sure to follow the podcast. Keep following along. I have some awesome Eimerl experiences coming up. And a couple of one is revolving around mindset, and the other is revolving around business. So stay tuned. Go lead, and constantly become a better version of yourselves. All right. Thank you guys at home for watching. I'm Parker Eimerl. I've been talking to you, and this has been The Conversation Station.